So for the past year, it's been like the boy who cried wolf, where every couple months there's a threat of a shutdown, and after a while you really don't believe it'll happen, and then it did. And there's nothing to worry about. It's sad that some people, they're so dependent on the government or so dependent on something to control them, or just the thought of having something there that is in control and they're not, that it does scare them. And that just shows that it shouldn't be that way. We're the people, we're the government, we're supposed to be telling the leaders how to govern, and lately they haven't been doing too good of a job at that, as most people are watching closely so they see. And so I thought this needs a good shutdown, but it's too bad that it happens to be over illegal aliens staying. They put the interest of foreigners over Americans, foreigners that are ungrateful at that, and they're willing just to close it for that. And it's a whole other topic, but it's really sad that it's come to that, and I'll talk about that the next time, but I'll just say it is time to stop sugarcoating. If we want to save this country, we have to get a hold of it, and this politeness has not worked, it's not helped, and it's got to the point where one side of the globalists really will shut down the American government over foreigners, over having them stay to not only get votes but change culture. All goes together, and well, that is a whole other one, but just unbelievable. So other than the reason that it's shut down, it's a good thing. It's a good thing not to have people so dependent, and with people scared like maybe they won't get their welfare and such, which something tells me that even if it stays shut down long enough, that'll probably come in. But either way, it just shows them maybe not to rely on what they call government so much, like they probably don't know what it even is. Like I said, it's just leaders doing what we're telling them to do. We're supposed to be doing that, but they're not doing that, because most Americans don't want any kind of amnesty at all. They want that DACA program to end and them to all go back, just like most of them want to. Most here, they want to go back to Mexico. They talk the language, wave the flag, and when you really ask people that are illegal, or people that come kind of forcibly from other places, most of them do want to go back to their homes. So that's what most people want, and these people shut the government down over that. It's something else, and enough people, they don't like this administration because of what they've heard about it. So enough are okay with that because they don't really understand why it's shut down. They think it's just shut down because Trump's this, that, and the other thing, and yeah, it's too much in that way. And it's been a year today on January 20th, and so God forbid that Trump takes the weekend off. He hasn't had a day off in over a year at all, and he works for free, so it doesn't matter to him closed or open, it's all the same. So he's going to just keep on leading, and so if it does stay shut through Monday, which I'm hoping, they're trying to talk about getting it reopened and such. I hope it's a longer shutdown, but if it does, it'll be interesting to see what he does, and it'll be interesting to see him lead again on his own, just like he did before. And that's when he got deals. He got Japan to invest here, he got jobs to come here, he got factories to not leave, he was doing deals already, and it was already a good leader, and everyone thought of him already as that leader of the country. And so that's what'll happen until it reopens again. And anyone panicking, it'll reopen soon enough before you know it. And the interesting thing is that, well, it's good that this time the plan was to leave a lot of the national parks and the monuments and such open, the ones that didn't require a whole ton of constant upkeep and such. And some of them, they'd be free now since no one's there to collect the money for them. But like facilities and gift shops and such would be closed, and other monuments, they don't even have anything like that, but some are behind gates and such. And so the plan was to have them open, and most were, and some weren't for whatever reason. But it's just funny to see people have such a sudden interest in monuments. I mean, just yesterday, if you asked, they'd probably still want them down. But suddenly today, they couldn't get in fast enough. They have some pictures that are supposed to have some sob story about how the government shut down, of these people behind the bars trying to get in to look at a monument. I bet they've never even seen it before. They have no interest at all in that. Anyone who's okay with the illegal aliens and stuff staying, and upset that they closed it over that and didn't just go through with the deal and give amnesty and such, would have no interest in the parks. But suddenly, how can this be? And most of them are open. They left the gate open for most, and then if they didn't, it was an oversight, or they just didn't. It's not a requirement, but they were just gonna try to have some of them be, because last time the government was shut down for 16 days and they were closed for that long, and so this time they were trying to have them open. But that's all it takes. It was kind of like the time when all it took was a tweet to get the trans community interested in joining the military, and now these people, the alt-left, want to see the monuments so bad just this weekend, and it's just so bad they can't. But I bet once it reopens again, they'll forget about going back. They'll be back to wanting them removed if they're at all offensive. So that was kind of a funny side effect of it. And with this anniversary, yesterday there was a march, and Trump addressed the march. The vice and the president, was the first time that they did that in person. And then today there was a pink hat march for the anniversary, except that a few weeks ago they said that they can't have the hats anymore because some of the people got offended by them. It was the LGBT community, of course, and so it was supposed to be out of respect for them that they'd march without them and try to be more inclusive. But I saw some pictures that there were some hats today, so they must not have got the memo about not having them. They offended their people and had a bunch of infighting about it, apparently. And the march, or the gathering, they were real small. They weren't even that big last year, but this year I heard that they were small. I didn't even hear that much about them until Trump reminded us that they were there, because he trolled it well. He got onto Twitter about it, and he said that it's beautiful weather all over our great country, a perfect day for all women to march. Get out there now to celebrate the historic milestones and unprecedented economic success and wealth creation that has taken place over the last 12 months. Lowest female unemployment in 18 years. And he just trolled them about it, because obviously it was an anti-Trump march, just like the last one, and they're out there angry and raging. And he says, get out there and celebrate. And so now, when there's our pictures of them, and they're gonna kind of be conflicted, are they gonna say like there was a lot out, and then they'll say, yeah, a lot were out celebrating, or are they gonna say there weren't that many out because we didn't want to celebrate what he's talking about? So then it'll still be on them, because they'll say, well, then they must have given up on all these causes and such, and everything that the Pink Hat March was to begin with. So it puts them in a bind there. And And he wrote that in the afternoon. That was when a lot of them were already out, and so they probably saw that. And it was funny because he always gets the last word like that, and everybody knew right away that he was trolling with it. And then it said it a couple hours later in the newspapers that that's what he was doing. But it's true though. It's had the lowest unemployment rate since 1973. And we all remember what happened in 1973. Things were going too good. And just like they're doing now, they're trying to get him out any way possible. It was more effective. Well, back then, they were able to do it easier. As I said, not as many people were watching this closely. And back then, it wasn't that unusual to have this kind of leadership. And now, for all those reasons, and plus with Trump being more charismatic, people are watching closely, so it's harder for them to remove him, even with all these good numbers and even with all these things that he's doing good. And part of why they want to, amongst other things, is they don't want to see that it's taken him a year to do what they've claimed they couldn't do in 30 years. They've said that they just couldn't do all this. And then they've said it'll take time and what is possible and such. But he's doing it so fast, they kind of want him like out of the way before more people see, and more people already are. And so it's been a real good year at that. And I think ending it with a shutdown really is a good thing. It'll show, definitely, it'll show like that the priorities of the Democrats, that side, the globalists, really took over the Democratic Party, and it shows in wanting to have the government close over the illegal aliens. And it'll also give it a rest for a while and let him lead. When he tries to do anything, they block him, and the Rhino Republicans, they're almost worse about that. They're really obstructing, both sides are. And so it'll be good for him to be able to do that. And so that's why I think that overall this shutdown is good. They've had many before since 1976 when they've done it this way. When Reagan was in, they've had about 8 shutdowns, but they didn't last long then. Only a couple of days each time, and people most of the time don't even really notice it. But now that we're watching more, it'll be interesting to see what happens during the next week.